اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم Fazail-e-Amaal chapter number 2. We will continue reading the difficulties that the Sahaba faced during the early time of Islam. So this story is about the Treaty of Hudabbiya and the incident of Hazrat Abu Jandal Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu and the Hazrat Abu Basir Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu. सुलह हुदैबिया के बारे में ये है दो वाक़यात. रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम left for Umrah in the year 6 Hijri, but when the kuffar of Makkah heard about this, they regarded it to be an insult to allow the Muslims into Makkah. They therefore opposed the Muslims, who then halted at a place called Hudabbiya. The Sahaba Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, who always regarded it to be their honor to give their lives for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, got ready for battle with the kuffar. But Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not intend fighting in the interest of the kuffar. He rather entered into negotiation for a peace treaty. Despite the fact that the Muslims were ready to fight, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made great concessions in favor of the kuffar and accepted all the terms that they made. Although the Sahaba Radiyallahu Ta'ala Anha found it difficult to submit to the kuffar in this manner, they were still obedient to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and would submit to anything that pleased him. Even Sahaba Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, as brave and courageous as Hazrat Umar Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, were forced to give in. Stated amongst the clauses of the treaty was the condition that any kafir who became a Muslim and migrated to Medina would be returned to the kuffar in Makkah. बड़ी सख्त शर्त है इसी कि कोई अगर मुसलमान होके आ जाता है मदीना तो वो मुसलमानों को वापस कर देंगे. ठीक है. On the other hand, यानी उन्होंने दी शर्त है किसी, any Muslim defecting to the kuffar would not have to be returned to the Muslims. अगर कोई मुस्लिम छड़ के जाएगा वो वापस नहीं आएगा. ऐसे ट्रीटी दे विच एक इन्होंने होर रफड़ पाया सी जिस वक्त लिखी ना पेपर ते जो एग्री हो गए तो उत्ते लिखिया बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम. इन्होंने काफरा ने क्या ए की है बिस्मिल्लाह तो ठीक है, ए अगे रहमान रहीम क्यों है, ए फड्डा पाता सी. रसूल ने गल उन्होंने मान लेती, कोई गल नहीं, यानी उन्होंने हर गल मन्नी. अच्छा. The treaty had not yet been concluded when a Sahabi by the name of Hazrat Abu Jandal Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu came to the Muslims still fettered in chains. उनस के आगे ना. He had been brutally tortured by the kuffar in Makkah and had managed to escape and had come to the Muslims at Hudabbiya in the hope that he would finally be released from his misery. His father was Suhail bin Amr, who was not yet a Muslim then and accepted Islam only after Makkah was conquered. So Suhail happened to be the person negotiating the peace treaty on behalf of the kuffar. When Hazrat Abu Jandal Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu arrived there, Suhail slapped his son on the face and insisted that he be taken back to Makkah. But we have not yet concluded the treaty, said Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Suhail ibn Amr adamantly refused. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, at least leave him just to me. However, Suhail still refused. Hazrat Abu Jandal Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anha addressed the Muslims saying, O gathering of Muslims, why should I be returned to the mushrikeen when I have come as a Muslim? Have you not seen how I have suffered? Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew what went through the hearts of the Muslims at the time. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam consoled Hazrat Abu Jandal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu and advised him to exercise patience. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also added, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will soon open up a way for you. After the incident at Hudabbiya, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam returned to Medina, where a Muslim from the Quraysh called Abu Basir radiyallahu ta'ala anhu came to him. However, the Quraysh had dispatched 2 men to Medina to get him back. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam therefore handed him over to the 2 men. And he said, but I have become a Muslim. Hazrat Abu Basir radiyallahu ta'ala anhu pleaded, will you send me back into their clutches? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also advised him to exercise patience and added, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will soon open up a way for you. Same thing he said to the other Sahabi. The 2 men then left with him. On the way, Hazrat Abu Basir radiyallahu ta'ala anha said to one of them, I see that you have an extremely fine sword. The man drew the sword from the sheath and said, oh yes, it is fine indeed. I have tried it many times. In his negligence, the man handed it over to Hazrat Abu Basir who immediately tried it on him, killing him instantly. Seeing that he was next, the other person dashed for Medina and came running into the masjid, shouting, my companion is dead and I am next. Following close behind him came Hazrat Abu Basir radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, who said, O Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has absolved you of your responsibility when you returned me. I have no pledge to fulfill with them and have done this because they wanted to remove me from my deen. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, this man is a true warmonger. If only there was someone who could assist him in some way. Hazrat Abu Basir radiyallahu ta'ala anhu understood from this that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would return him should a person be sent from him again. He therefore left Medina and settled along the coast. The Quraysh had heard about the incident, and so did Hazrat Abu Jandal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, who was sent back, who managed to escape from the Quraysh and secretly joined up with Hazrat Abu Basir radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Therefore, every man who escaped Islam and left the Quraysh joined up with Hazrat Abu Basir radiyallahu ta'ala anhu until they grew into a large group. They settled in the wilderness where there was no vegetation and no food. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what hardship they were forced to endure there. They, however, managed to silence the oppressors from whom they had fled and launched attacks on every caravan of the Quraysh that passed their way. The Quraysh eventually grew weary and sent a message to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, imploring him in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and by the family ties. They shared that he should call this group to Medina. In this way, they could also be bound to the clauses of the treaty and would allow a safe passage for the caravans. They also added that whoever came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Makkah as a Muslims afterwards would be left in peace without having to return to Makkah. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam then sent a letter calling them to Medina. It is written that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's letter reached the group when Hazrat Abu Basir radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was on his deathbed. He then passed away with the letter in his hand. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with him and make him pleased. So The note on this incident is that when a person is steadfast on his religion, even the mightiest of powers will be unable to shift him, provided that his religion is the true deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's promised assistance will always be with him if he is a true Muslim. So we'll call it off here. Assalamu alaikum.